Hi, I'm Michele Muska and I'm the Director of Content with Aliso. I'm here in my home office and sewing and crafting studio in North Central Connecticut. And today I'd like to share with you a very fun and easy project on how to make your own fabric appliques. You only need a few supplies and you can dig into your stash. A few years ago I made this vintage apron out of lightweight denim on Creative Bug, and I added a few pieces of fabric and made some appliques out of it. So I wear this while I'm cooking as well as crafting. And I'm going to show you how to make the appliques as well as embellishing tote bags, pillows, and shirts. So let me clean up and let's get started. Usually when we talk about iron-on appliques, we automatically think about the pre-purchased ones that are embroidered like this and already come with an iron-on fusible backing. And also maybe you think about patches that you would use for holes in garments that also come with a fusible backing as well. You can make your own fusible fabric appliques so simply by finding some really cute fabric in your stash. And this one has an adorable kitty on it that I've already put the fusible backing, paper backing, onto the back. And then I cut out this little kitty. And I'll be using these for probably my granddaughter's outfits because they're just so cute. This is what you'll be using. So you need very minimal supplies. This is Thermowed's Heat and Bond, but any paperback fusible webbing will work. They come in different strengths. This is the Ultra Hold, which I'm going to be using because I'm going to be putting my fabric onto denim. So I want a really heavy bond. But there's all different kinds of applications that you can use. So let's see. I'm going to use this really cute sugar skull fabric. My mini Aliso Project Iron works great for this project. And I like to heat up both sides. I'm going to lay out my webbing. I just want to be careful you don't get it onto your pressing surface, which I'm using my wool pad. And you want to follow the manufacturer's instructions, and you just are pressing your iron. So a few seconds in each spot to get a nice hold. And then you, if at all possible, you always want to press both sides. That gets a nice adhesion. So there you have it, it's ready, and it is hot, so be careful. I'm going to let this just cool for a second so I can handle it. And you want to use a nice pair of really sharp scissors. And you want to cut out your shape. I used the sugar skull on a project on a flannel shirt that I'll be showing you a little bit later that I paired with some flowers and animals. Okay, and there you go. So to take off the backing, you want to just crack it like this and peel the paper off. And then you can put it onto your fabric. And as I mentioned, you always want to do the other side if possible. And here you go. I already have prepared and cut out my butterflies. We're going to be making an apron with butterfly motifs on it. So let me clean up and we can get started with that part of the project. I ordered a few pre-made denim aprons, which I laundered so they're ready to accept my fabric appliques. And I already started here. As you can see, I put one on the pocket and a few going into the pocket, which is great. You can use any iron, but our mini Aliso project iron will get right inside the pocket for you. Since this apron I'll be using for cooking as well as crafting, I want to make sure that the appliques stay on because it will get a lot of washing and drying. So I went to the sewing machine and just did a, maybe a 3.5 stitch just around the outside. You can also do this by hand, and you can add some embroidered embellishments if you like. So here you can see I have all of my butterflies cut out. And you just want to make sure that when you're working with your iron-on fusibles, that the dull side, the paper side, is always facing up. And in case that happens, that you don't do that, you'll have to make sure to clean your ironing sole plate surface off really well before continuing on with your project. But it's the paper side, it's all ready. And then I'm going to, as I said earlier, crack the back paper and peel it off. So as you can see, it's this shiny surface. You can see that in the camera. And I'm going to place that right on here. And I'm going to press, leaving the iron on for a few seconds in each area. And you'll want to use a dry iron when putting appliques onto your fabric. And if at all possible, you want to get on both sides. So I'm going to get right inside the pocket there. So when you can, if you can iron both sides when you're doing appliques, it's the best idea. I get the best adhesion. So, and I can continue. I could put some down here, and I can add more here, and I can just keep going. So it's really cute. So let me show you a few other things that I did. I had a denim pillow, and I ironed one of the butterflies on there. And then I'll be going back in to put their antenna on with some black, maybe just like a little chain stitch with some embroidery floss. And I also did this really fun sugar skull. So this was a panel that I had, and I put the fusible paperback webbing onto the back of one of these, and I cut it out, and I put it right on a plain tote bag. Now, if you don't have any fabric in your stash that have motifs that are already on it, don't worry about that. You can make your own. So here I made a little flower that I can add to, say, maybe one of my projects right here. And I just took the paper, fusible webbing, I ironed it onto the back of some floral fabric, and I freeform drew around the outside of the flower shape. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can practice and make a stencil out of some recycled cardboard and just take your stencil and draw around it. And if you still need a little bit of help, there's a lot of free clip art that you can download on your laptop and print off. And here you go. One of the other things that I thought was really fun, I have some Cantha squares, which is a quilt that has fabric on both sides and hand stitching. So what I did is I cut out some of my squares from the Cantha quilt, and I put the paperback fusible webbing, and I'm going to say put that right on a pocket. So it looks like I already did some shishiko or big stitch hand embroidery on a little patch. So these are just a few of the options that you can use, and I'm going to show you some of the finished items that I made with this method. It's really great when I find a piece of fabric in my stash that has great big motifs. The iron-on fusible paperback webbing also comes in a roll, so that way I can actually do quite a bit of fabric at once, and then I have all these different options. So let me roll that up, and I'll show you. I use a different colorway of that same fabric on a flannel shirt. I bought a bunch of flannel shirts at Goodwill and laundered them, and they're just like so soft and already worn in. I thought that it would make a fun project. So here I use some of the flowers and the sugar skull. Here's our little kitty and butterfly, and I got this adorable kitty coming out of the pocket. I can also show you one of the things that I did with Nicole from Wild Boho. So I also used this kitty motif, and we used a fusible webbing to iron on onto this hoop fabric, and you can iron on from this side as well. And we did some really cute embroidery stitches, and it's a work in progress, so we can finish that. And then I also did a pair of jeans with that same motif right here. And as you can see on this one, I actually twisted the stems a little bit to give it a little bit of more interest. So one of the things I'd like to just mention before we close is take a look in your stash and see what's there. There's probably all kinds of fun things that you've forgotten about. So I found these little motifs that I had done with embroidery on linen, and I can actually cut these up and put fusible webbing on the back and put them as patches on my jeans or on different projects. And here are some of the other fabrics that I found in my stash that I thought would be particularly nice to use. Here's a hand-printed linen, which I thought the bird is really cool, and another linen with the little Marishka dolls. I also thought it would be fun to use some toile that I've had in my stash forever, but I think that would make a great iron-on. And then here's some fabric that have all kinds of different Paris motifs. So I have a friend that really likes Paris, so I thought, well, maybe I'd make something out of this for her. So anyways, there's all kinds of options. Just take a look in your stash, and with just a few supplies, you can really make some fun projects and have a good time.